So let's do our combined dropper. And for that, I didn't create any template. So what we are going to do is we will actually create it from scratch based on the templates we have learned so far. So let's create a new folder and call it dropper project. Okay. And so let's summarize what we want to do. So final dropper should extract shellcode from resources, decode shellcode. Let's say it's XOR. Sorry, decrypt, not decode, decrypt. And then inject shellcode into explorer.exe. Okay. And let's say get rid of console window pop-up. We should also think about so resources, decryption, injection. Yeah, let's leave it as is. Okay. So for the resources, we need a template, and we can use that for implants resources. So we copy this, and this. Okay, copy. Excuse me, paste here. Okay. We also need a shellcode. Shellcode equals, let's say, message box, because we are injecting into explorer.exe. So let's make it visible for us. So we need a shellcode, and if we go to shellcodes, there are different versions. Now let's see what kind of shellcode, what architecture we need, 64 or 32-bit. So explorer.exe is probably 64-bit because we are running on 64-bit machine. Yeah, that's it. It's correct. So we will use this shellcode. Okay. Now we will be using XOR, right? So resources XOR. So we go to encryption. We will use that script as well. And then injection. Okay, let's leave it as it is right now. So we open up our process, our command line. So we go to RTO09. Okay. So let's first encrypt our payload, and we do that with XOR and message box. And now is that we have first limitation, because our Python script actually what it does, it encrypts the payload, but it will output the result on a screen. And if you take a look at the source code for resources, we need a file, okay? Because the resources the resources has to be compiled, and it uses the file from the disk. So what we can do is we add one function here. So we open some file, let's call it favicon.ico Let's make it writable in a binary and write our ciphertext there. Okay, so let's save it and let's run it again and refresh. So we have our favicon.ico, which contains our encrypted XOR encrypted payload, and we can verify. So the size of the message box bin, so the original payload is 334 and the favicon is 334 as well, so it probably is correct. Now, so once we have our shellcode encrypted, we allocate a memory, we run execute, we copy the payload there and we run it. So yeah, let's try to compile it, okay? But before we do that, we need to change resources.rc because it is not calced, but it's a favicon.ico. Okay, so we can close that and run compile and see if it runs correctly. Seems like it is. So if we run it right now, it should probably crash. But let's attach the debugger and see if at least the payload gets decrypted correctly. So we take the address of the payload, we go to expression, paste, okay, and it's not decrypted. And that's okay because we haven't decrypted it, so we have to go back to our encryption folder, open the source code template, and we need this function. So copy, we need this function here, paste, and we also need decrypt, payload, copy, and we need to decrypt it. Let me see, resources, go to payload, and yeah, we need to do it here. So paste in here, and it's not a calc payload, but it should be our exec mem. So copy, paste, and the length is payload length. Payload length. And we also need a key, which was my secret key. All right. So let's copy this as well. Okay. Now we can actually stop that. Let's compile it again. Let's run implant.exe. Attach our debugger again to implant. Investigate this region again. So go to expression. Okay. And now it looks like it's decrypted. But if we run it, it will probably crash. And that's expected because we are trying to run the 64-bit, we are trying to run a message box payload, so a GUI function inside the console program. So that was expected, and yeah, let's just skip that problem for now. So the next thing we need is injection. Okay, so let's go to, we can actually close that, and let's go to our template for injection, code injection and shellcode. Open this one, and we need to take these actually, yeah, this, we need this code. Copy. So, and let's think about, okay, let's paste it here for now. And there is probably something we can read off. So do we need to make our buffer after being decrypted to be executable? No, because we are going to actually use that buffer to inject the shellcode into a target process. So we don't need that. We can get rid of this. We are not launching our payload inside our dropper, but it will be launched remotely, so we can get rid of this. And now we are doing the injection. So let's add injection process. Starts here. Okay. Now we need find target and inject. Okay. So get back to, we need to copy these two functions. So shift, copy. We can paste it here. Paste, save it. And there's probably something missing, but we can run a compile and see any errors. Yeah, we have some errors. So process entry 32 in line 31. So if we go to line 31, this is our find target function, and we are using some structure which is undefined. So that's understandable because we need some header files, and for these functions we need actually this header file. So we copy this file in here, paste, and see if it compiles. No, we probably missed some variables, so the declaration. So 111, line 111, yeah, find target. So we need, and hproc as well is missing, so these two variables are also needed. So we can paste it here, paste. Okay, and see, let's see if it compiles correctly. Yep, no errors. So let's run it. Notepad is our target process for during the development. So run implant.exe. Let's attach our debugger to implant. Let us see if the payload got decrypted. So go to expression, paste. Okay, seems like it. So our payload, and we are actually here. So yeah, our payload got decrypted, and now let's see if it gets executed in Notepad. So let's get back to debugger. You hit run. Let's hit enter, and nope, it crashed our Notepad. So there is something, there's some error in our code. So let's investigate. Okay. So we know that it worked till that get car function. Now the injection process starts here, so we find the target, notepad.exe, but we can see that this was successful because the code went into this if block, so the printf shown the process ID, so it probably was successful. So the problem is either with an open process or something like here. So we can debug it in the most simple way, which is just using some messages. So let's printf not hit me, but let's say hproc equals some x value, hproc, and yeah, let's run it this way. Okay, so compile again, implant, we need Notepad running, so it's running. We hit this line. hproc does not equal 0, so it means that the open process function call was successful. Okay, because so the problem is with injection. Okay, and we know that this this function works, right, from the previous previous sections. So let's think about what we are actually trying to inject. So payload, we are actually injecting payload, which is our pointer to a resource. Okay, which doesn't make sense because we are trying to inject something which is encrypted. Okay, and what we need to inject is something which is decrypted, which is this memory. Okay, so let's change this to exec memory. Let's save it, and Notepad is running. So let's hit enter and it will crash our notepad. Yeah. So let's run it again. And compile again. Implant.exe. Okay. Hit me. Prog98. And it was successful. So our code got executed. So far so good, as they say. Okay, so let's get back to, let's close this one so we can, injection works. So let's say we have, this one is done, this one is done, decryption is done, injection is done. We're actually not injecting explorer.exe, but so far we are injecting that just into a notepad.exe, and the change between notepad and explorer is really simple. So now let's get rid of console window. Okay, so we go to our hiding console folder. Let's use GUI trick. So we will need winMain definition instead of main. So we just copy this function, this definition here, paste. And we also need to change our compilation process. So we need to tell our compiler that we want to compile a GUI program. Okay, so let's save that. Let's save that. And let's, before we could compile, let's get rid of this because now it works. And yeah, let's run it. So let's compile. And let's start Notepad. Okay. And let's make sure that our program runs in injects it into explorer.exe. So we're running. Oh, actually it already ran because we are executing as a GUI program. So we can actually try to find if it's coming from Notepad, and it is. Okay, it is coming from Notepad. Let's search for readable executable code, which is here, and it contains our shellcode, our message box shellcode. So everything is as we want it. So with that, we actually can get back to our source code. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. No printfs. These are unnecessary right now. Any other printfs I'm missing? No, it doesn't seem like. All right, so it should be almost ready.